This is Democracy Watch. Marc, we have a feud that has just exploded between Elon Musk and you. Elon took to Twitter in the aftermath of Norm Eisen announcing that he was suing Musk and Doge for violating the Constitution. And Elon wrote back, and I'll put the link right here on the screen, "You and Marc Elias are undermining civilization. Did you guys suffer childhood trauma or something? Seems like a generational trauma transfer issue." And so what do you make of the fact that Elon, rather than replying to any of the merits that what he is doing is unconstitutional, decided to attack you and attack you using some ad hominem attack?
Yeah. So look, I'm used to getting attacked by people on the right. I've been attacked by Donald Trump, who called me the Democratic Party's best election stealing lawyer, and that was projection. I have been attacked by Steve Bannon and by Kash Patel and by others on their video shows and the like. But this one was a little bit different because the truth is, Elon Musk doesn't know anything about me. Elon Musk doesn't know what my life experiences have been. Elon Musk doesn't know probably much about my work. And so to have the guy who owns Twitter, to have the person who has the loudest voice right now and who is the richest person in America attack you is somewhat of a different phenomenon than even having the clownish president of the United States do it. But here's the thing. When he asks about trauma beyond the projections, perhaps, of his own upbringing and his own experiences, let me offer Elon a little bit of background. My family is in this country as immigrants because they fled prosecution from people who wanted to target Jews. Okay, that's why my family is here. That is why I know that Norm Eisen's family is here. So if you ask about the trauma, the generational trauma, it is the generational trauma of people who were cast out and not welcome in their country, came to the United States and were embraced and supported by a Democratic Party that took in immigrants, that took in Jews at a time where that was not acceptable in all of political society, and gave us a chance to make the American dream. And so fighting for democracy every single day is part of what I give back as a result of that generational trauma that he calls. Fighting to make sure that we have free and fair elections is part of what I give back to as part of the generational trauma, as he calls it. And the fact that he has dedicated his life with all of his wealth, to spread disinformation and to target people who are simply seeking a better life in this country speaks more to his character than anything it can to mine.
And what does it say, the fact that, Elon himself is also an immigrant, and so he, among all people, should recognize the virtues that being here in America. I mean, the guy has more money than anybody else on the face of the earth. He has more opportunity than anybody else on the face of the earth by virtue of the fact that he was embraced in this country in very much the same way that your family was and Norm Eisen's family was. And so what does it say that he's using that platform not to make it so that other people can benefit from the same elements of society that he did, but rather to prevent people from being able to do so?
Look, I think this issue is part of what is dividing the Trump coalition right now, because, on the one hand, you have the Steve Bannons of the world, and I would never say anything good about Steve Bannon, but like at least Steve Bannon is like, I don't want any immigrants here. The thing about Elon Musk is he's not against all immigrants. He's for the people who can afford to fly first class to come here.
Yeah,
he's for the people who are coming with PhDs to work in Silicon Valley in tech. What he's not for are the people who came like my family came. They didn't come on the top deck of the ship. They came a couple of decks below. And they didn't come with college degrees and couldn't offer, high-tech businesses or the business elite much of anything other than low-skilled labor, right? So Elon Musk is in favor of some immigration. He's just not in favor of the kinds of immigrants that, frankly, built this country, the kinds of immigrants that have been the backbone of the Democratic Party, frankly, the backbone right now of much of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
He's in favor of the people who as some politicians have said, the people who shower before they go to work, not the people who shower afterwards.
Marc, you have the skin thick enough to withstand these kinds of attacks from Elon. As you said, you contended with incoming from Donald Trump himself. And so I think that you're steeled enough, that your spine is steeled enough to be able to contend with this stuff. A lot of people aren't, though. And you see the ease with which Elon will use his platform, use his influence, use his money, use his proximity to power to kind of attack. And in terms of the chilling effect that has, it may not work on you, but it certainly may work on somebody else who doesn't have a spine steeled enough to be able to contend with this stuff. And so after seeing what you've encountered in just the last few days as the result of, being in Elon's crosshairs, can you give some indication of how that might impact these other folks, be it judges, prosecutors, career civil servants who may find themselves on the wrong end of Elon's ire?
Yeah, look, my life changed after 2016. I was the general counsel for Hillary Clinton's campaign and was a prominent Trump critic in that role. And then when he was in the White House in 2020, as you know, I represented President Biden in defeating Donald Trump and his allies more than 60 times in court after the election to prevent him from stealing it. And I've been involved in voting rights and other disputes with Donald Trump and his cohort for years. So I have become accustomed, unfortunately, it's sick in some ways to say, I've become accustomed to all of the attacks. I've become accustomed to the threats, to the innuendos, to the false smears. And I have also been someone who, along with you, have spoken out about the need for people to have courage, particularly now. We have a Department of Justice run by someone who was an election denier, Pam Bondi. We have an FBI director coming in who has called me an enemy of the Republican Party, and who, I have no doubt is going to weaponize the FBI. You have, as you point out, the richest man in the world with the biggest social media platform, or maybe not the biggest platform, but the biggest voice on a major platform. And so, yeah, I have learned to adjust my daily life in ways that allow me to continue every single day to stand up against Donald Trump and stand up against authoritarianism. But for most people, that is not an option for them. For most people, they can't reorder their lives. Yeah. They are trying to go to the store. They're trying to have their kids leave their house safely. They're trying to make sure that they don't lose a job or lose a customer or a client because of what's being said about them by someone like Elon Musk. And so we are in a great period of turmoil. But here's the thing. We saw the line prosecutor in New York. We saw the acting U.S. attorney in New York. They stood up. They stood up to Donald Trump. They stood up to Pam Bondi's Department of Justice and writing those letters and saying, we're not going to dismiss the case against Adams. We saw in 2020, we saw Shay Moss and her daughter stand up. We saw those young women who worked in the White House stand up for people who were part of the Trump administration stand up as part of the January 6th commission. So there are instances where people are willing to do the right thing. And my overall message is, if you can't stomach it and take it, I understand. And you need to do what you need to do for your family. But if you are a leader, if you are someone who is in the legacy media who proclaimed your commitment to democracy, if you are a civic leader, someone who runs a nonprofit organization that says you stand for democracy, if you are in elected life, if you are a federal judge with lifetime tenure, then you need to lead. You need to stand up. And if you won't stand up, you need to get out of the way. Okay. And let someone else who will take your place. Because this is not a time for cowards. This is not a time for fools, to use the language of that letter. This is a time in which we need to all steel our spine, whether it's against Elon Musk or Donald Trump or Pam Bondi or whoever, because we're in for a long 4 years. And if democracy is going to survive, it's going to be because people like you and people like me and people watching this video all have the civic courage necessary for the era we are in.
Perfectly put, and highly recommend for everybody watching right now to support a team of people who are doing exactly that, who are not afraid to speak truth to power. Please sign up for Democracy Docket. It's the news outlet Marc founded to focus on everything voting in elections. That is the exact type of outlet we should be supporting right now, especially in light of a lot of legacy media outlets doing, to your exact point, Marc, the opposite of what they should be doing. That despite claiming that they're out here advocating for democracy and that democracy dies in darkness, those are the very people who are kowtowing to Trump and and these MAGA forces. So I'll put the link to Democracy Docket right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen.
I'm Marc Elias.
This is Democracy Watch.